Hi to all my stitching friends, I hope you're well, and I'm back with my Bewitched by Lisa Parker. I've been working on this design for well over a year now, and it's taking its time, but it's getting there slowly. So what's happened this week? Here's a little update of mine. Well, I got into a little bit of trouble with a particular section, and down here on the left side I managed to do a whole square of the wrong colour. Anybody that's working on a fabric that has a very high count can feel my pain when I say that it's difficult to unpick the stitches. So that nearly left me screaming my head off, but you know, these things happen, it goes with the game. So I eventually got my husband to unpick the whole lot, and it was fabulous. I thought I'd do a little bit of stitching, so I'm just going to start working on this top right corner. It has been a little bit fiddly because I've wanted to try and get my canvas to fit and exact to fit into the frame exactly, so that I can sort of work on the whole area without having to keep moving the Q-snap. So I found that quite awkward, but it wasn't too difficult once I figured out how to assemble it. The only problem I seem to find is the overlap of material can be a little bit of a pain as well. If you're stitching a heaven and earth design, you start to pick up little habits of things that work for you, and they become little comforts. So I suppose it's like trial and error really. When you start working on something and you haven't quite got used to a method, or you haven't really found the method that works for you, it can be really tricky. So I say that after doing one of these heaven and earth designs after a year, I've figured out what it is that's working for me. So if I decide to do another one, which I am probably going to do, save my soul, then I'll probably work on this same method that I'm using at the moment. So it's a little bit fiddly, I agree. It is fiddly to do the parking. It is not ideal to have all these threads hanging at the front of your work, but I find that it's working for me because I know where I am. I'm counting my rows. I don't miss stitches. I can always go back and see what I've done easily, and it just seems to work better for me. I was doing cross country all over the place in a lot of my designs, and that was working sometimes, and then other times it wasn't. You really have to find the best method for you. I do like doing cross country in different designs that are not heaven and earth designs, because the parking doesn't really work for some designs, but I find it does work for this one. So somebody asked me, when I get bored, do I immediately work on a different design, or do I go back to doing the same design over and over again? You know, I used to just plug away through the same pattern every single day, but lately I have found that I'm having more it's more relaxing for me to just pick up the one that I feel like doing, and I can't really explain why that is. I just think it's because I kind of let go of this control factor that you can build up, you know, the control that you put on yourself to try and finish one particular thing. So now I just think, well, I'm not really, you know, I'm not in a race. This isn't an exam. I'm not trying to beat anyone. I'm not trying to hit a deadline. I think deadlines put pressure. I mean, you can sort of give yourself a target, but when you say, oh, I have to have X number of stitches done by next week, then it really becomes a bit of pressure. And there's so much pressure in life anyway. I really don't need any more. So I did do something like a stitching challenge, where I challenged myself to do a little bit of an area of a design, but I probably would have done it anyway without the challenge. So yeah, I don't really want to be putting any more pressure on myself than is already there to finish these things. So I don't like the word finish. I just think that if I sit down and I do a little bit every so often, when when the mood gets to me, then that's really probably the best way. And then I find that I pick up the design more often because I don't feel like I'm under pressure to, if that makes sense. I have to say that sometimes you go mad with these stitches that just keep faffing around. It's like they're purposely trying to get you. I'm parking in the wrong hole every so often here, and it's really a bit annoying, but I think that's probably for lack of concentration whilst I'm chatting to you guys. But hey, never mind. I mean, I've made the odd wrong stitch here and there, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. It's just one of those things. So because school started this week and everything went really quiet, that was a really good time to stitch. If I was to talk about my favourite design, I don't really know yet because, well, I like all the ones I'm doing, otherwise I wouldn't have chosen them. So the word favourite is a bit difficult to define. I know that people seem to be more taken aback by this particular design than they do other ones, probably because they've never seen something so intricate before. And obviously it's one of those things which is just amazing to people if they've never actually done it or they've no idea how it's done, especially when they see all these threads at the front of the canvas. They think it looks really cool. So that's it for me for now. So let me know what you're working on, and I'd be interested in hearing about what you think about these particular designs if you've done any. And I'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.